So right there. Ready? Hey guys, my name is Adam.
And I'm John.
And we're going to teach you about the Futaba Gyro, the GYD550, and how it is communicating with like a Futaba 7P-XR or a Futaba 4PM radio. They work with both. The prerequisites for it is that your receivers have to be on version 4, and it's only the 334 SBS or the SBS-E. I think those are the model numbers. So version 4, currently it's version 5 out right now. And then our radios have to be at least version 4, I think.
No, it's I believe it's version 7 and then now it's version 8.
Yeah. Version 7 and then 8 is available now. So let's get into it, and we're going to talk about the gyro and how it works. So we're going to talk about how it's actually connected to the servo and then into the receiver and the S-Bus ports. Go for it, John.
Okay, so this is how I set mine up. I followed the directions from Futaba. They don't want it touching your servo or your battery. I think it's got something to do with interference. And then on this one, I just followed the instruction. I kept all my EPAs at 100, and we'll go over why later in the tutorial or this video that we're working on. I'm using a 7P-XR at version 8. And then my receiver is updated to version 5, so everything should work accordingly. So when I first set it up, I just followed the instruction, mounted it on a chassis, turned my radio on to make sure I have steering and all the inputs.
So before we get into that, let's go over the wiring really quickly.
Okay.
So your servo is connected into the SX port. Your receiver is connected into the RX port, right? And then
your GN is connected to channel 3 or whichever channel from 3 or 4 you want to use for your gain adjustments on the fly.
Right. And then going back to it, your gyro from the RX port will be going into channel 1 or to the S-Bus port. And there's a little bit of a difference there because channel 1 only has 1 profile that you can use, and then channel 2 has, I think, a total of 5 different profiles that you can save if you're using just the S-Bus port.
And I'm using channel 1 just because that's what I'm used to, and I wasn't gonna make different profiles to use for one car.
Moving ahead, if you're using an MC970 ESC or the Acuvance ESCs, the Xarvis or the Xarvis 2 or XX, whatever, you will be using the S-Bus port for that. So that's why mine is in port number 1 on the receiver.
Yeah, I don't have that yet. All right, so when you turn the radio on in the car, you want to give it a second. The front of your car or your steering is gonna move. It's normal. And I think that's the way the gyro initializes itself at first use. That way it knows all your settings. If you do move it before it finishes the initialization, I can't talk. Anyways, so once it finishes that, you can move the car and your gyro should react. Same with your steering. The hardest part for people to set up is trying to get to the gyro settings. So some people don't have gyro link. You actually have to add it from your menu to do that, and then you have to put it on the page where you want it to be. I didn't have to do that on mine. I actually already had it on mine for some reason. I had a friend that had to move things around to see it. Was that you?
That was me.
All right, so you can either click right all the way to the left, or you can just skip that and just one to the left.
Your mileage will vary because this menu is completely customizable.
Yep. So gyro link is how you get to the gyros or the gyro settings. So mine, I'm not using the RX S bus, I'm using channel 1. So we click wireless. And then there goes your settings. You have basic settings, and then you have your gyro data 1. So for up here, this is how you set up your response mode, your gain mode, your neutral offset, and your servo or your SR mode settings. I don't use the SR mode settings because I don't have a SR servo. But this limit, A and B, is your endpoints for left and right.
Quick interlude. You will not set the endpoints how you would traditionally do on like a V4 gyro or like any of their standard gyros. Your endpoints are just here.
Yep, and which is part of the reason why having the GY550 is a plus for me, just because I don't have to mess with that all the time. Everything is right here.
You know, like when you change your camber or your steering links or anything and you have to reset your V4, yeah, that. We don't have to do that anymore.
Yep, everything is pretty much set. It's the same settings. If you do have to make an adjustment, you just go to your gyro link, basic settings, you change those endpoints to get your maximum angle on your cars that you're setting up. So my response mode, this is how fast your gyro will respond when you're about to spin out, or how it's supposed to react. Your gain mode, this is for your gain. So when you're adjusting your gain mode right here, it's either higher or lower. This just makes it so you can get the most gain out of the gyro.
Well, more specifically, like when you have your gyro, and like you'll notice that with some of our drift servos, if you have it like turned all the way to 100%, you don't want it that high, you turn it to high, and then you'll probably be around like 60 or 70. For the most part, it basically makes it so that you have to run less gyro, or at least less of a number on your radio for it to be the equal value of where it was before. It's kind of like a 20 decibel pad on a mixing board.
I have no clue what that is. It's all good. So the next one that we're gonna go over is we are gonna go to your go back to your GYD550. We're gonna go to gyro data 1. So there's two different settings. You have your AVCS and you have your normal mode. So AVCS, from what I understand, is to counter steer. It's like counter steering into the drift instead of counter steering completely, like real counter steer, to where you steer the opposite way to turn the car where you want it to go. That's how I understood that. I never use it. My setup right now should be on green light, which is your normal mode. Red is gonna be your AVCS mode. So we're gonna go over your damper point, steering control gain, tail slide speed, and then your steering speed, turn and return. I left those at 100%. I haven't played with them, to be honest. As far as your tail speed and your steering gain control and your damper point, you notice that my damper is at 0 because my gyro has a dampening already built into it. So I don't have to worry about setting up the damper or the damper point. Once you put your damper at 0, you don't have to worry about the damper point at all because it won't do anything. It doesn't change anything once this is at 0. As far as your steering control gain, this is for your inputs. So I have it at 65. That way I can control the car even though the gyro is doing some of the controlling when it's counter steering for you. So for switchbacks and things like that, even though it's counter steering to the right and I want to control the servo to go left a little bit and go back, that's what that's for, so you can override the gyro.
Higher numbers means more responsive.
Mm-hmm. And then for your tail speed, tail slide speed, that comes down to preference. I have mine at 60 on the smaller car. This car actually rotates pretty fast, so I have it on a lower number. Some people, like on my big car, it's at 120 because I want it to rotate as fast as possible. It just preference when it comes down to that. But this is my basic settings for the normal mode. I don't even mess with the AVCS.
Don't take any of our settings that we're showing here like set in stone, because like he said, like John said, it's all preference. Like he drives completely different from me, I drive completely different from him and everybody else. So it just comes down to finding that right recipe for what you like and how you like to drive. Oh,
we didn't show you how to actually change the settings. So we'll show you that real quick. Adam will cut in. So say we want to change our dampener point. We'll change this because this doesn't do anything for, I'm just going to use it as an example. So when you click on it, see how, well, right now it doesn't have them, but if you click on that, it gives you minus and the plus sign. So to change the numbers, you can either press plus or you can go minus. Then once you're done, you just click right, and that saves your setting to your gyro. So every time you turn it on, this is going to be the settings you have on there.
Wait for it to completely write, because if you go in between, you'll probably have like an unresponsive gyro when you're driving. So if it does happen, just click on right again and it'll take care of it. As far as the dampener goes, like the dampener and the dampener point, like if you're using a Futaba servo or just like any standard digital servo that's plugged into the gyro, do play with it, because the dampener is going to hide like those crazy wild wheel wobbles. And then I think the dampening point is, I haven't like quite figured it out yet, but it's like just when you get to a certain point, then that's when the dampening will like set into place. Could be the other way around, but I noticed that while playing with it on mine, like if I turn the dampener up, that would make my servo like stupidly responsive. Yeah, just play with it. That's all that I really have to say about that. Just play with it.
Yep, that's all. I don't have.
A spider for me that's like kind of on the ceiling. Are you in the middle?
We're recording.
Killing spiders.
I kicked Adam out. Actually, I'm trying to watch my live and the lag is kind of weird because I'm expecting to watch myself talk like on a smaller screen, but...
You realize I'm not going to put this in the cut, right?
I know.
Something for your live stream that no one's watching.
Yeah, it's just me. I'm just playing with it. It's actually saving on the SD card.
I know.
So
but
that way I
live
can...
streams to himself.
I just want to see how it works. I'm trying to learn how to talk to the camera.
You think sympathy is a thing on camera?
Probably not, but I mean, I gotta learn somehow. Oh, by the way, can you see that? Maybe not, but there's a sticker on there of a half-naked anime chick from Lance from Midnight Suns. Thanks, Lance. I have more, or he can print more if you guys need it.
I need a battery. You want to get... No, crap. I need a battery.
Oh, yeah, because you're Mr. 5mm plug. Should I buy an Acuvance? Or the Futaba MC9 whatever?
Should you buy an Acuvance or an MC90? The answer is...
MC970CR or 70CR or whatever.
The answer is it's totally up to you. There are some pros and cons. I feel that the Yokomo ESCs have a lot more power delivery. Like the turbo will be there whenever you need it. As far as the Acuvance, the turbo's there, but it's not as fast. If you want numbers, I think the Acuvance, at least for the Xarvis, can only ramp up at 25 degrees, whereas I don't even know how high the Yokomos go. I know my...
The Yokomo's stupid high.
Yeah, like I know my
and it's loud.
Oh, no.
It's really loud.
What's loud is the Acuvance fans. Oh, check this out, you guys. Black Star Hobbies, when they used to be a thing.
Yep, way back in the day. I think I have one of those somewhere.
I got this for free at my own sponsored drift event.
Nice.
So I kind of gave it to myself. Yeah, I kind of
You
gave it to myself.
yourself?
I kind of gave it to myself. Okay, you guys. So since we're working with the M chassis today, I've got the other one.
This is the more baller setup.
I wouldn't call it more baller. I'd call it the more like complete chaos. There's a little bit of everything on this setup.
But it's closer to the more wrap-up setup instead of like the M concept conversion chassis with a SX3 setup like I have. This one's actually, this is the M concept conversion kit with the wrap-up VX dock 2.0. He's gonna correct me if I'm wrong. And then it's got the VX dock.
This isn't the VX dock.
Or sorry, not the VX dock. This is the wrap-up.
This is the Nervous.
Nervous. So basically it's a mini Nervous setup that he's got going on versus mine is still kind of the Yokomo and then the wrap-up kit. This is the mini Nervous.
Sure.
At least that's what I'll call it because it's the whole thing is pretty much wrap-up. Like there's a couple of things that's Yokomo and a couple of Rev D parts, but it still performs really good.
Yeah, hodgepodge of parts. But besides that, so what we're going to show you right now is just how to set up the Acuvance ESCs with your radio. So first thing that you're going to want to have is the Acuvance ESC, so the Xarvis XX, or the Xarvis 2, however you want to call it, or the Futaba MC970 ESC. So they're all pretty much the same exact speed controller, just either a different version or a different brand name, I guess.
If you read the manual for the MC970CR, it actually says below that label, it's made by Acuvance, and they actually call it Xarvis or Xarvis, depending on how you pronounce that. It's just badged for Futaba.
Yep. The S-Bus connector is a little bit different. I think it's just like, you can't separate the plug from it, but you do plug it in at the receiver and at the ESC. The S-Bus adapter you can find at like AcuvanceUSA.com, or Super G carries them as well too. Same as the speed controllers.
Futaba calls their S-Bus as MC Link.
They are not interchangeable. So we were playing with one of the guys, we were playing with Elliot's car. Okay, yeah. And they are not interchangeable. We found that out. If you're trying to use the MC Link on an Acuvance ESC, you can't, it won't work.
Oh wow.
Like you can't turn the car off.
They did make it proprietary, okay.
Yeah, but they're for the most part the same. Because you can program it, you just can't turn the car off.
Okay.
It was weird. I'm like, Elliot, why isn't your car turning off? And sure enough, it was the MC Link or whatever you want to call it. Oh, my antenna tube's gone. Okay. So in our last segment, we were talking about S-Bus port on the receiver. So this is what we're talking about. The S-Bus adapter is going to be plugged into port number, well, the S-Bus port. And that's going to be how it's going to communicate through the radio to the receiver, to the S-Bus adapter, to the ESC. Mine is actually right here. You're not going to be able to see it on camera, but I can point to it. It is as if you can. So there's just a wire coming through. It's running around. And then it's going to be going to the front port over here.
Do you want me to use a secondary camera for this?
No, though they can suffer. I'll throw some pictures up on the screen. Maybe that'll help. Okay. So I've unplugged my fans for the sake of you. Well, I guess we do need a secondary.
They are kind of loud. I mean, really loud. That kind of.
The Raystorm fan from Acuvance is obnoxiously loud. Like obnoxiously loud. It looks cool. It's a $40 fan.
It does cool down your stuff, so.
Okay, so as far as that goes, S-bus port in going into the receiver and then coming out into the front port of the ESC. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn on the ESC. Okay. And do you notice how that's just this one light that's here? We don't want both of them. When both of them are on, it's already in like some sort of weird, it's not a programming mode from the radio, it's a different mode. So to change that, you just hold that button, and I think we're gonna see a blue, yep. So if we see this, at least on this firmware, that's a bad thing. We want to press and hold just so that we have that. If you're looking at it, it's got like a red and an orange light that's there. Okay, so just to get into it, we're gonna do user menu. And like I've said before, this entire menu is completely customizable. So I have mine just right on the first page. I think it's like on the third or the fourth. It's somewhere down there in the regular one. So we're gonna click on MC link here. And then for us, for my Xarvis, just the regular Xarvis, I'm just gonna click this top one, and then we're gonna click read. Okay, and since it is plugged into the S-bus port, I am gonna click on wireless S-bus.2, reading succeeded. And now we have our different options here. We've got read, write, reset, and data list. Okay, so we've already read it. We're gonna go to the data list. There you go. Okay, so from here, it's just as simple as like just going step by step and whatever you want to change. So up in the top right-hand corner, you've got 4 pages to choose from. And I'm not really going to go through these settings because like these are your typical speed control settings. Nothing really to explain. We might do that in a later video. Comment down below if you want to hear like learn a little bit more about like the frequency settings and like why, like should they be set high or should they be set low, and we'll try to get you more information. We might be able to get like Super G, like Joey Tam on the line, and maybe do like a conference call with him. High expectations, but we might we might try.
Also comment if you want this to be more like a live stream style, blog style, or actually like just all around just tutorial video to the point. We want to play with, we kind of want to try things out and see where we want to be as far as video recording stuff.
Yep. So to keep on moving things along, once you make your changes, just like the gyro, or if you want to make a change, just press on the selected value and then press plus or minus, whatever you want to do. Apparently there's, 32 is the highest. Again, all of these settings here are completely obligatory, like take with a grain of salt because they don't actually matter. They just matter if they feel good to you, and that's the important part. So once you find your setting, click on write, let it complete, and that's pretty much the process of programming your ESC. One thing about this setup though is, well, and I guess it's the annoying part, is when you're going into program, well, not programming the actual ESC, but making sure that the firmwares are updated. So if you buy an Acuvance ESC, like box stock, they come with the stock firmware that works with everything. There is a specific Futaba server, or Futaba firmware that you need to upload onto it. So you're going to need the firmware update link that's also available on Acuvance USA, and I think again on Super G. You'll need that so you can update the ESC to the Futaba firmware. The other part of it is that the S-bus adapter does have firmware loaded onto it because that's how it runs. But I got into the problem where like, should I update it? Should I, because everyone's always like update to the latest firmware, right? So I got confused at where the firmware was and which firmware I tried to like upload to it. So I think I like uploaded the handheld programmer, not the Tau, but the other one that you can get.
I don't remember which one it is, but
he doesn't have one. Well, why would he know? Anyway, so it broke it, right? So the only place that I could find the firmware for the SFES adapter is on the Xarvis 2 page. Only place that I could find it. So if you do end up bricking your SFES adapter, go to that page. I'll throw a link down in either the description or just like throw it on the page there. Probably down in the description, and that's where you'll go, and that's the file that you need to update. That's pretty much it. Like that was the only hard part about bricking it and then trying to get recovered from it. Other than that, the firmware update process is pretty much straightforward. Plug in the USB, plug in the adapter cord into the front port on your ESC, and that's it. Like press a few buttons here and there. We might go over it in another video just to be sure that everyone's clear, because that's why we're making this video, because we don't have any English resources to be easily understandable here. And I've seen it like multiple times on the Super G page. It's like, hey, how do I do this?
Super G page, or pretty much anywhere that we go that, you know, 'cause now we're running Futaba stuff, everybody asks us the same question. There's no link. Like I have to call Adam. Well, you know, he's an hour, 2 hours away from me, and I have to call him. Hey, we're updating a receiver. Hey, I'm doing this. What do I do? So, because everything's Japanese, or a different language, we have to kind of combine what we know and what we've experienced to come up with a solution.
Google Translate's amazing, by the way.
Sometimes.
That's the only way that I was able to do this. Other than like watching other YouTube videos and just kind of pushing in the same place that other guys were pushing.
Cool.
Anyways, I hope this is informative. I hope it helps you guys out. If you do have any questions, post them below. Or if we're so self-conscious, we might turn off comments. We don't know yet. Again, this is kind of the first videos of our series here.
Whatever video that if he actually posts it. But well, we'll see how it goes. I mean, Adam can delete that later. Or he can have it up there so for funny moments, bloopers, or whatever you want to call it.
Anyway, so if you guys want to see anything specific, post it down below. I guess we'll have comments going, post it down below, and we'll go from there. You guys have a good evening.
All right, and be nice on the comments. Thank you.